Welcome back to Transfer Talk, and with the season reaching its climax over the coming weeks, some sides are starting to look ahead to next year, not just with players, but managers and owners as well. Let's get you all caught up. We start in France, where there finally appears to be an update on the future of one of PSG's biggest stars. Neymar's contract in the French capital was due to expire in the summer of 2022, and the Brazilian has been linked with a move back to Barcelona over the last 18 months, although there's been questions about how the Spanish side could afford such a move. But it looks like the rumours will start to settle down now the 29-year-old is reported to have signed a pre-contract agreement with his current employers that would tie him down until 2026, at which point he'd be 34 and surely entering the twilight of his career. Although the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi have shown that world-class ability can last well into their 30s, neither have suffered the injury troubles that Neymar has faced over the past few seasons. The former Santos youngster has played just 105 matches in almost 4 years in Paris, having missed 81 games due to injury, and has only featured in a third of the available minutes for PSG this season, as they find themselves in a scrap for the Ligue 1 title with Lille, Lyon and Monaco. And as it happens, he'll be unavailable for Le Parisien's next match as well, after being sent off in a 1-0 defeat to Lille over the weekend. The 14th match he'll have missed due to suspension during his time in France. Clearly an integral part of Mauricio Pochettino's squad as they endeavour to win a first Champions League trophy, Neymar is reportedly being paid close to €40 million a year by the Qatari-funded club. And while it's hard to imagine that any deal he signs will see him take a pay cut, it could have huge implications on Kylian Mbappe's future at the club. Kylian Mbappe finds himself in the same contractual situation as his Brazilian teammate, although at 7 years younger, he has far more time at the top of the game ahead of him. And it's hard to argue that the 22-year-old hasn't had more of an impact on PSG than Neymar since the Frenchman signed permanently in 2018, having scored 109 goals in 117 appearances, with Neymar only getting 55 in 75 in the same time span. But compared to his teammate, Mbappe is on a measly €20 million per year, just half of Neymar's wage. So, as you'd expect, and has been much reported for months now, the World Cup winner is looking to earn just as much as his teammates. But with such protracted negotiations with PSG chiefs still ongoing, reports are now suggesting that the hierarchy are starting to grow impatient with the former Monaco man. According to Le Parisien, the club may even be ready to cash in on their prize asset as he enters the final year of his contracts, with a small loss on their initial €180 million investment far better than seeing him walk out the door for free. And when asked about this, Mbappe didn't do anything to dampen the rumours, saying, "If I had accepted a deal, you'd know about it already." So what could his market value be this summer? Obviously, PSG would look to maximise his value, not least after losing close to €300 million over the course of the pandemic. But a realistic figure for even a chance to sit down with Mbappe's representatives appears to be in the €120 to €150 million region, a fee that would see the Frenchman get a second entry in the 5 most expensive transfers of all time. This would surely catch the attention of many of Europe's biggest clubs, and it has also been suggested by Marca that Real Madrid could use Vinicius Jr as a makeweight in a deal to sign their long-term target. The 20-year-old Brazilian has featured in around half of Los Blancos' minutes this campaign, making 14 starts, scoring 3 and setting up 3 more as Zinedine Zidane's side make a late surge for the title in La Liga. However, with Transfermarkt currently valuing the attacker at €40 million, Florentino Perez would likely have to put up a further €100 million to bring the boy that had Cristiano Ronaldo posters in his bedroom to the Bernabeu. A hefty amount of money for sure, but definitely worth it to get a future Ballon d'Or winner on the books. But what do you guys think? Where does Kylian Mbappe's future lie? Paris, Madrid or somewhere else? Let us know in the comments. There's no doubt Mikel Arteta is looking forward to the summer in order to transform his floundering Arsenal squad, with the sale of some long-term gunners expected ahead of next season. The likes of Hector Bellerin, Alexander Lacazette and Granit Xhaka are expected to be on the transfer list, but depending on Arsenal's finishing position, they could be forced into a shock sale. Currently sat in 10th, 10 points off West Ham in 4th and 7 points off 6th place Tottenham Hotspur, Arsenal have a huge fight on their hands if they're to qualify for any form of European football, whilst a 5th successive season without Champions League football seems inevitable. But with the best case scenario effectively qualifying for the new Europa Conference League, Arteta could lack the funds necessary to substantially improve his side. This means that a player like Bukayo Saka could be up for sale in order to fund an overhaul at the Emirates Stadium. Obviously, this would not go down well at all with their fanbase, and is only seen as a last resort if the Gunners don't make the money they expect from the sale of their fringe stars. This list also includes names such as Matteo Guendouzi, Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Lucas Torreira, whilst Arsenal may even consider cutting their losses on Nicolas Pepe in order to bankroll Arteta's unprecedented transfer plans in North London. Of course, selling Saka isn't in their plans, nor their best interests, but with the 19-year-old valued at £55 million on Transfermarkt, he'd certainly go a long way to improving Arsenal as a whole, even without the England international among their ranks. Meanwhile, in other cost-cutting measures at Arsenal, 33-year-old David Luiz will have to take a pay cut in order to remain in Arteta's squad beyond the expiry of his current deal this summer. The centre-back is currently on £120,000 a week and could be out for the remainder of the season after undergoing a minor knee operation over the weekend. Somehow turning himself into Arsenal's most dependable centre-back, Arteta is now left with the conundrum on whether or not to bring back the £8 million signing from Chelsea and give him a third year on the books in North London, and it appears this current injury could have put a spanner in the works. Only time will tell, but you'd hope Arsenal don't go into next season relying on an ageing David Luiz. To West Ham next, who following Monday's 3-2 victory over Wolves find themselves in 4th place and as London's best performing club, a position they haven't ended the season in since finishing 3rd back in 1986. So unsurprisingly, there is interest in some of David Moyes' most consistent players, namely Declan Rice and Tomas Soucek. You would expect two players as integral to any side as Rice and Soucek are to be completely unavailable for sale, but Moyes has conceded that he would consider selling the midfield pair, although it would take an extortionate amount of money to do so. The Scot has said it would take the banks of England and Scotland in order to prize the pair away from the London stadium. Rice's absence 2 days ago marked the first time the England international has missed any minutes at all for the Hammers since April 2019, with such form at a young age seeing him linked with a return to Chelsea. Rice was in the Blues youth setup until being released as a 15-year-old, and 7 years on, the Stamford Bridge hierarchy were reported to be interested last summer, although never formally submitting a bid. Moyes is positive that the current direction the club is heading in will be enough to keep all the big names in East London, including on loan Jesse Lingard, who scored 6 goals and set up 3 in 8 starts since his arrival from Manchester United. However, there is a sticking point. There is no option to buy for the Irons, meaning the 28-year-old will be heading back to Old Trafford in the summer. But with his performances being as good as they've been since February, the fear is that his parent club will drive up the asking price for Lingard, who has either scored or set up a goal in all but one of his outings for West Ham. With his contract ending in little over 12 months, Manchester United will want to cash in, and the likes of Arsenal, Spurs and Wolves could all reignite their interest in the recently recalled England international. But what do you think is best for Jesse Lingard? Where should he be playing football in August? Let us know down in the comments. We end this week's transfer talk with a brief trip to Bramall Lane, where Sheffield United are still looking for a new manager following the departure of Chris Wilder last month. Whilst under-23 manager and former Leeds United boss Paul Heckingbottom has stepped up for the remainder of the campaign, his chances of keeping the job beyond May remain to be seen, but losing his first 3 matches won't have done him any favours. One name that appears to be slowly creeping up the shortlist, however, is John Terry, who is currently serving as Dean Smith's assistant at Aston Villa. The former Chelsea and England captain is apparently keen to enter management in the near future, and the opportunity to rebuild the Blades in his image, as well as being afforded a bit of time in the Championship, could be an attractive opportunity. Other names currently on the shortlist for the soon-to-be relegated Sheffield United are the likes of Neil Lennon and Frank Lampard, but it will still be a few months before we find out who will be leading the team come August. So that was transfer talk for another week. Can you see any of these moves actually happening? Let us know down in the comments below. As always, if you haven't liked and subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Make sure you do that now, and make sure you check out the channel for all of the brilliant content we continue to put out.